The first sound I heard that morning was drilling, sharp and steady, way too early for a Saturday, and at first I figured it was just road work somewhere down the highway. But when I looked out my window and saw a whole crew in bright vests welding a brand new iron gate right across my gravel driveway, blocking me from getting to the only road that leads to my cabin and the lake. I swear my heart dropped into my stomach. That's my road, the one I paid for, paved, maintained, all of it. It's written right there on the deed. And suddenly there's this shiny gate with a big logo of an HOA that I wasn't even part. If I never signed their papers, never paid their dues, and yet here they were, acting like they owned me. I stormed down there, still holding the deed in my hand, dust flying off my boots, my voice already shaking with anger. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I shouted. One of the workers barely looked at me. He just pointed toward a woman leaning against a new black Range Rover, arms crossed like she was starring in her own drama series. She had oversized sunglasses covering half her face, a smug grin, and the kind of posture that screamed, "I get what I want." She introduced herself like she was the sheriff in town. "Name's Patricia," she said, calm as ice. "I'm the new HOA president. This road leads to the lake, and that lake is community property now. Our board voted last week. You'll be receiving your fee schedule soon. $200 a month. For lake use, $500 for road access." She said it like she was reading off a receipt. I felt my blood boil. "You're insane," I snapped. "That lake is on my land. That road is mine. None of this has anything to do with your HOA." She just smirked, tilted her head, and shrugged. "Then maybe you won't need the road anymore." That right there, something in her tone, told me she wasn't bluffing. So I did the logical thing. I called the sheriff's office. They came out, looked at the situation, and to my shock, they refused to remove the gate. Patricia had shown them some so-called community plans that magically labeled my driveway as shared property. I stood there thinking, this can't be real, this can't be happening in America. But it was. Now here's the twist Patricia didn't see coming. I wasn't just some middle-aged guy with a fishing cabin. I'd spent 20 years as a land use attorney. Property lines, easements, rights of way, this was my bread and butter. If she thought she could nickel and dime me into submission, she was about to learn what a counterpunch looked like. The first thing I did was start digging into her past. Something about her confidence felt rehearsed, like she'd pulled this stunt before. I called up some old neighbors who used to live closer to the HOA boundary, and sure enough, the stories came pouring in. An older couple told me how Patricia harassed them constantly when she was just a board member, claimed their bird feeder was a wildlife hazard, fined them for wind chimes, even opened their shed one afternoon pretending she was checking for unauthorized equipment. They tried reporting her, but since she sat on the board, she covered for herself. I reached out to a real estate buddy of mine, too, and he laughed when I mentioned her name. "Oh, Patricia." She tanked 2 house sales I had, stood outside during showings and told buyers the neighborhood was under her strict watch. Nobody wanted to live under her thumb. That was enough to paint the picture. This woman had been overstepping for years, drunk on authority she didn't actually have. So I started gathering everything: photos, videos of the gate going up, sworn statements from neighbors, even screenshots of Facebook posts where she bragged about doing spot checks around the community like some self-appointed cop. The icing on the cake, a copy of the so-called HOA map they'd filed. It looked like a kid's art project. Hand-drawn lines, no surveyor's seal, just some highlighter scribbles claiming my lake is theirs. I nearly laughed myself sick. But the real jackpot came from inside her own camp. One of her fellow board members, a guy I'll call Mark, reached out secretly. He admitted Patricia bullied everyone into voting her way. Then he forwarded me an email she'd written 2 weeks before the gate went up. It said, word for word, "Even if it's not technically ours, once we take control of the road and the lake, he'll eventually give up. Just keep the story consistent." That email became Exhibit C in my case, and when I showed my own lawyer, his jaw nearly hit the floor. It wasn't just overreach anymore. It was fraud. I didn't stop there. I filed for a restraining order, not just for me, but for my property, making it illegal for her to step foot near the road or the lake again. And I called the local news. A reporter showed up. I gave them the whole story, laid out the evidence, like I was in front of a jury. And by the 6 o'clock broadcast, the entire town knew. HOA president tries to steal man's lake. The fallout was immediate. Residents flooded the next HOA meeting, demanding answers. Patricia tried to spin it, said she was protecting the neighborhood, but her mask was slipping fast. By the time we got to court, the stage was set for a showdown. The room was packed. Neighbors, reporters, even a couple county officials who wanted to see how this circus played out. Patricia strutted in wearing a red blazer and those ridiculous sunglasses, like she thought confidence alone would carry her. But when she sat across from me and my binder full of evidence, I saw a flicker of panic. The judge opened with the charges: trespassing, land interference, harassment, falsified documents. Patricia's lawyer tried to argue it was all a misunderstanding, but the judge cut him off. Mr. Hayes has provided property deeds, dated surveys, photographic evidence, and written proof from your client. This is not a misunderstanding. Then came the turning point. My lawyer slid Exhibit C across the bench, the email where she admitted the land wasn't theirs. The judge read it slowly, then looked up. Ms. Patricia, is this your email? She hesitated, tried to feign confusion, then mumbled, I don't remember writing that. The judge didn't even blink. You signed it with your full name, from your HOA email address. This is fraud. That's when Patricia snapped. She shot up out of her chair and shouted, This is all a setup. That lake should belong to the community. He doesn't even let anyone fish there. It's not fair. The judge slammed the gavel so hard the whole room jumped. Sit down or I'll hold you in contempt. Her meltdown was the nail in the coffin. My lawyer paraded the rest of the exhibits. Photos of the welded gate, her signature on the work, order, video footage of her trespassing with a clipboard, and finally testimony from Mark, the board member who betrayed her. By the end, the judge wasn't just leaning my way, he was furious at her. He referred Patricia's case to the district attorney for a criminal probe and signed an immediate order for the gate's removal, plus daily fines until it was gone. Can't describe the feeling of walking out of that courthouse with the law on my side and her reputation in flames. But it wasn't over. The damages hearing came 2 months later, and that was the real payday. The judge reviewed the mountain of evidence, false claims, forged documents, harassment, and awarded me $3 million in damages. The courtroom went silent, then erupted in gasps and whispers. Patricia's new attorney stammered, begged the judge to consider the HOA's financial limits. The judge just shook his head. Perhaps you should have considered that before trying to seize another man's property. 2 weeks after that, Patricia was arrested. Fraud, trespassing, falsifying documents, conspiracy. The same woman who once told me I'd either pay her HOA fees or never use my own road was now doing a perp walk on the evening news. The HOA scrambled, some members resigned, others lawyered up. But none of that mattered. My road was free. My lake was mine. And for the first time in months, the place was quiet again. I stood on my porch the evening after the ruling, watching the sun set over the water, and I realized something. This whole mess wasn't just about a lake or a driveway. It was about power, about how far some people will go when they think nobody will stop them. Patricia believed if she pushed hard enough, if she lied with enough confidence, the truth would crumble. But it didn't. The facts held. And yet, even with her gone, I'd hear whispers around town. Some folks honestly believed the lake should be shared, that I was selfish for keeping it private. And that's the part that stuck with me. Property. Rights are clear on paper, but in people's hearts. Sometimes community and fairness weigh just as heavy as deeds and surveys. It made me wonder, where's the line between what's yours and what's ours? I fought back because I had to, and I won because I knew the law. But deep down, I still wrestle with the question, was this truly justice or just another kind of power play? So let me ask you, what would you have done if it were your road, your lake, your land on the line? Do you think I was right to fight, Tooth and nail. Or should I have opened the gate, let the community share what they thought was theirs? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I know this one's gonna split the room. And if you believe in standing your ground when someone tries to take what's yours, hit that like button and subscribe, because I've got plenty more stories where the underdog comes out on top.